People who vandalize bathrooms, buses, and other public property. Why do you do it? Only once in my life have I ever vandalized a bathroom. It was one that required $25 to open the bathroom door to offset the cost of vandalism, and the employees did not give tokens, insisting you had to pay the fee to use the bathroom. I was far from another bathroom and I was desperate. I figured that I had already paid for it, so I wrote "Baby Smasher" on the changing station door with a marker. Reminds me of how my university has a charge to all students to cover food stolen from dining halls. People joke about stealing food because we already paid for it, and some probably actually do steal. Hung out with the cool kids once when I was a senior. We hung out at the riverfront and they kicked the heck out of a towel dispenser until it broke. They said they always break it and it always gets fixed. So they do it because frick the police. I work at a convenience store. Frick people who do this. It costs money toward the store and we as employees have to deal with that crap daily. I know people who do it. Personally I don't. But the reason they gave me was really as simple as they can. There's a low chance of getting caught or repercussions. Relatively harmless, and the threat of maybe getting caught gives a rush. These same friends shoplift a fair bit with similar reasoning. Low chance of being caught. Threat of being caught gives them a rush. People like that should just do drugs and leave the rest of us alone. I do it because it's a fantastic tradition dating back to the earliest forms of written language. And I love that 2000 years ago people were drawing dongs on walls. 8000 years ago people were drawing dongs on walls. And 1000 years from now we'll still be drawing dongs on walls. But we still haven't figured out why. Was taking a dump in a public toilet, and on the dividing wall someone had carved rape rules. Now normally I would never vandalize a bathroom, but I felt I should rectify this. So I put a G and an S on the front and back end of rape, and scratched out the S in rules. Went from reading rape rules to grapes rule. Cause people like grapes. Because bathrooms are the best place to write my inspirational, life-changing advice. I will never understand why women's bathroom stalls are covered in those quotes. What I really don't understand is when people write RIP, person who died. When I die, I totally want to be memorialized in a bathroom stall. They are such beautiful, meaningful places. I'm just curious why all these people carry Sharpies around with them, like, at the bar and just happen to have a Sharpie in your pocket? I'm just curious why all these people carry Sharpies around with them. They make a conscious decision one day to be a vandal. They get a Sharpie, and after the first time, they just grab the Sharpie as they leave the house. Maybe they use it, maybe they don't. It's habit. Like my multi-tool. I rarely need it, but I always have it. I work maintenance for a community college. You'd think that by the these kids reach college they'd learn to stop writing on the walls. Nope. If you vandalize public places, frick you. Someone like myself has to clean up behind you and paint over that gang sign or scrub the huge dong off the stall with graffiti remover. Just to be clear, before someone uses the job security line on me, I have plenty to do without cleaning up behind these frick wads. Because it is done for neither critical acclaim nor monetary gain, washroom stall writing is the purest form of art. Discuss. There's a massive park on the opposite side of town here. There's an area in the back where two types of construction waste goes. Big loads of dirt, clay, sand, and a small area of about 20 wrong-shaped concrete tubes. A select amount of people know about his area, mainly mountain bikers. My friends and I got big into parkour, and these dunes of sand were notorious for people to run off doing flips or whatever. The sand was so soft it's difficult to land where you're going to damage yourself. Obviously still possible. The concrete was staggered really well and each are about the 5 feet 6 in diameter or so. We cleaned out all the weeds from the tubes and climbed through them. Jumped across the tops. Some are like 2 feet gap in between. Some are 5 feet, so it can be fairly difficult to maneuver around if you're not at least pretty athletic. It was fun and all, but we exhausted all possible combinations or whatever. It ended up becoming a smoke hangout spot whenever we weren't playing Ultimate. It already had some really crappy graffiti on it, so we took it upon ourselves to add some high quality art. A friend made a massive ace of spades with a bloody handprint. Another made like the old Nickelodeon splatter with his tag name inside. I ended up painting Calvin and helped a friend make original 8-bit Mario. So basically, even though this place is public, it's really not well known and it's stuff that's tossed out anyways. So we livened it up. I regularly write my thoughts everywhere. Bus windows, backs of the stalls in the loo, napkins, doors, streets, in library books. It's not so much that I want my name to be known as it is I jot down my thoughts for others to see. I think that if I make someone smile or think for a bit, then it's worth the while. I have an odd way of looking at the world. I want other people to see a little bit more. When I see your thoughts on the bus window, I just want the butthole who did it to be crushed. Generally I don't do it, and when I do I usually do it where no one will lose their crap. But I would say that one of the reasons behind it is the same reason why people are compelled to anonymously comment on an internet forum. The only difference is that it's out in the open. It functions the same way Reddit does too. If it's highly moderated, then someone will use industrial cleaner to clean it all up. If it isn't moderated, then people will get downvoted when someone tags over their crap. In some cases people do it so showcase their artwork. Someone once told me that they do it because you are being inundated by advertisements everywhere and they would rather see poorly drawn dongs rather than a million ads telling them what to buy. This might not be the most common scenario, but when much younger, we would do a lot of drunken stupidity. Its purpose was not to damage something, but the damage sometimes occurred. Throwing self into traffic sign to achieve most spectacular crash sometimes resulted in damage to the traffic sign. Stealing door from a pub's toilets to be used as a sled inadvertently caused property damage. I used to get dragged to Catholic church when I was a preteen. I'd excuse myself, go to the downstairs, usually empty, bathroom, wet and wad up paper towels and throw them against the wall. The ceilings were pretty high, so I'd really get em up there. Bonus: my grade school bully's father was the custodian there. I knew he would have to clean them up. I did it because I was a mischievous bored child. Plot twist: on the days when your bully's dad had to clean up your towel wads, he'd be in a particularly foul mood that night after getting home from work. He'd beat your bully buddy up, and his mom too, taking out all his rage on them. Next day, your bully would be extra mean to you to compensate for his own pain. It's the circle of life, or something. I used to be a tagger and avid stencil painter. I still frick around, but since I can be tried as an adult, I don't like bomb walls much anymore. I just make t-shirts, patches, tapestries and such for friends and people I like now. It's really as simple as it seems for notoriety when you don't have much else. Not many people knew me, but a lot of people could recognize my tag or work. I didn't have a lot of skills to get me money or fame or anything, but I could draw. On top of that, there's the thrill of it as well as being able to use a skill creatively. While my tag doesn't change often, I can put it in different styles or add a character. Once you incorporate stencils and can make life-sized full images, the world is your oyster for whatever message you think it needs to hear. Over-explained by a college art professor when tagging started, it wasn't so complicated. You'd write your name and street you rep. Like Manny 152 is a dude named Manuel who lives on 152nd St. It started in hoods where people didn't have much looking up and seeing famous people on billboards and crap. Like that guy made it. But if you have nothing, you make your own billboard. So if you know you won't be the next Calvin Klein model or big CEO or rapper, you can get up at 5 points or go all city. Get your tag on every train line. Then you get sort of famous. There are people who are mostly anonymous that are just famous for their art. And now people like Banksy are blurring the lines between outside and inside the art world. It can be a real job now. You can get your tag in a legit gallery or just rent a warehouse and make yourself a gallery for a day. I agree with what you're saying. Also, 5 points is torn down. Bro, sorry to tell you, we have the city now. I believe it's because those that do see the world as a blank canvas and it's theirs to decorate. They have a sense of ownership that the world is theirs and not owned and run by the conglomerates or corporations. I'm pretty sure all of the fraternity house silverware and glasses were stolen from the university. $35k a year should cover it. When I was younger I did a lot of vandalism. You do it because it is funny, you hate how stupid everyone is and how they plod through their lives, and because it makes you feel like you're more in control of your world. There's nothing quite as energizing and clarifying as youthful rage. The extent of my vandalism was taking a Sharpie and writing witty stuff on store doors. Once, I did draw a huge dong that took up the majority of the door though. I was an angry kid and I thought I was expressing myself. But as I've gotten older I'm still just as angry, but I've learned to express myself in other ways. There's a park in my neighborhood where my friends and I always hung out. One day a lady and her children approached us saying we should never go back there because we were always profane. We returned later that night and spray painted "Freak you kids" on the bench. Funny back then, but now that I've grown up a little I feel slightly bad about it. Long story short, cause frick em. I want to post this in the restroom at my work and have a piece of paper underneath where all the tweakers here can write their responses. Though it would probably just get smeared in crap or flushed down the toilet before I could read any responses. Because graffiti is awesome. It gives you a high. Yes, you're destroying public property, but who gives a crap? It's under a bridge and on walls facing the metro. Without graffiti your commute would be extremely boring. It's all about getting up and honing your craft. For the record, I'm older and no longer partake, but going bombing was always fun, scary and a heck of an adventure. I only vandalize one place, and that's the coffee shop I'm a regular at. But generally, it's acceptable there. Heck, the walls are covered in random stuff painted by regulars past and present. It's not so much vandalism, but leaving a mark for those in the future, I guess. My personal favorite is the phrase "draw me like one of your trench girls." To cover up some more obscene vandalism that was never dealt with, I still see it in the same place. Nobody's cleaned it. I was just in Barcelona and there were marble benches around a gorgeous fountain, and somebody had spray painted over them. I was so it literally peed me off. There's this bathroom stall in the engineering school at my university that has nothing but encouraging inspirational graffiti in it. I sometimes go in there just for the reading material. I used to back before my mature phase. At about 7th 9th grade I thought I was who I was since I hung out with the cool kids. I learned to draw graffiti and whatnot. 9th grade, I walked home one day and stopped by the park bathroom and decided to craft a beautiful piece of graffiti on the stall. A rather big one, too. I felt like a cool kid, like an accomplishment. Now everyone can see it, right? By the next day, they painted over it. Looked like nothing even happened. Then I realized how worthless and pointless it was vandalizing graffiti on stuff like that. After that, I started drawing graffiti. I would draw people's names in this giant sketchbook and everyone was impressed. Everyone else did it, too. All my friends bought sketchbooks and paint markers and I feel like I converted a ton of vandalizing victims into artists. I've definitely changed since the wannabe I was back then. If you knew me before and now you wouldn't even know it was the same person. But even now, I personally feel that graffiti is an expression of art because it truly is. But, unfortunately, graffiti is found 99% of the time vandalizing walls and public property and it earns its bad name because of it. I do it on occasion, mostly commenting on someone's prior work. I think of it like an anonymous message board, like Reddit almost, or more accurately 4chan. A bathroom stall is very much the same type of forum. A long time ago, when I was a college freshman, I used to write H Lolita on bathroom walls. I did it because I knew that 99.9% of people would never get it, but for that 0.1% who did, it'd be pretty funny. I trashed a bathroom once in middle school as a dare, but when I got to my part-time job in high school I felt so bad for the person that was on shift the day I trashed that bathroom. I was in 4th grade with one of my best friends. We went to the bathroom together all the time and accidentally missed a urinal a tad bit, but soon it escalated into us missing on purpose. Then we started to pee all over the bathroom, including the sink, the trash can, the walls, and the stalls. Honestly, I think the main reason of the vandalism is simply because we felt free. Because kids are stupid. And also, do you realize how many cool things you can make with the touch strips that indicate you want to get off the city bus? I briefly hung out with this kid in high school who liked to throw rocks at bus shelter windows because it was fun. He borrowed a video game from me and then I never saw him again. I do reverse vandalism. One time I saw one that said "F you Splitty," a nickname of a supervisor at work. I added "Kung" to the top of it. Also turned quite a few swastikas into beautiful windows. I do it because I know many people will see what I've done. It's like your anonymous mark on the world that everyone can see. In the case of graffiti and street art vandalism, which I partake in, I paint my art on public property because it's out of the norm and it forces those in the public sphere to interact directly with my art or my statement. Perhaps the purposeful destruction of property is a way to let out aggression on and destroy something that isn't yours? You know, I don't do any of this myself, but I've always found bathroom alley bar graffiti to be kind of beautiful. It's the purest form of artwork you can find. It's not done for fame, for money or to impress. It's just there for the sake of it. And what do people choose to express? Well, usually it's a bunch of dongs. Almost every day around the age of 16, my buddies and I would skateboard around and go toward this baseball field. There was this porta potty there and I would always knock it over. I just thought it was hilarious because I could only imagine the look on the poor bastard's face that had to clean that. And it sure as heck wasn't me, so frick everyone else. I would knock it over and every day it would be stood back up. I honestly probably knocked the thing over 20 times. Never got caught. We even put a firework in it one time. Frick that porta potty. Whoa, vandalize. What are you talking about? I am trying to do you a favor, friend. If you are looking for a good time, the call aim it. Here is her number. Why are you acting like this is somehow wrong? I doodle on desks and stall walls because I have extremely restless hands. Like, if I've started drawing on the walls, that means I've run out of everything else to scribble on. For example, my legs, any paper I have, my hands, etc. Used to do it in high school and a lot of it was anger, stress at home and not really knowing any better or having an appropriate outlet. That, combined with peer pressure, can lead to some asinine decisions. Once I decided to go for a change and starting quoting philosophers on the bathroom stalls. It got erased in 2 days. The phone numbers, shaming, gay p pages and homophobic comments right next to it went untouched. I desisted. Sometimes when you get her dick sucked so good you just gotta spread the news and give her bottom B some extra business, you know? Why everything gotta be vandalism, witcher people? Why can't it just be advertisement? According to my friend the idiot, because they won't get caught. I call him an idiot, because one day he's talking about going around the country and smashing people's mailboxes, laughing about how he wouldn't get caught since it was so far out. So I ask him if it any real big ones. He starts talking about one on a hill in the middle of nowhere, so I rattle off the address of the box and he goes real quiet. Takes him a minute of me just looking at him. Then his eyes went wide and he started apologizing profusely. Wound up beating the dent out of my mailbox later after I'd added a new one to him. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.